Hey guys, are you wanting your offer to stand out? Abe and I are going to talk about that right now. Hey guys, it's Sarah Carmen here, your Not So Secret agent, and I'm here with my buddy Abe, and we're going to talk about what's going on with this crazy market and how to get your offer to stand out. So as most of you know, I'm a broker both in Oregon and Washington, and I serve the greater Portland metro area as well as Southwest Washington in the real estate capacity, both with ERA Freeman and Associates and Columbia River Realty. And Abe?
I'm here with Gateway Mortgage. I've been here for going on 2 years. We're in downtown Vancouver. We work in 41 states now. We just opened a new office in Montana. So we're working on both sides of the river. So the Clackamas County, Clark County, Multnomah County, those are the places that are really going crazy in our area right now, but we work all over the Northwest.
Awesome. So I thought it'd be fun to actually talk from a lender's perspective as well as a realtor's perspective as to what we can do to get your offer to pop. And that's the big name in the game right now. When we're seeing homes that are only lasting on the market for 9 days and we're seeing less than a month of inventory all over the place, then it's time to start talking about how we can get your offer as a buyer to stand out. So I'm going to say first, from a realtor's point of view, you want to make sure that your offer is buttoned up. Highest isn't necessarily always best, but we want to make sure that you have your best foot forward. And that's really some of the nitty-gritty things we're going to talk about today. So I'm going to kind of throw it off first. I think we were talking a little bit about loan types and how that works. So
yeah, loan types are a funny thing, and a lot of times that's going to really determine based on your financial footprint, what everything looks like in terms of credit score, debt to income, if you're a first-time home buyer, or if you've never gone through the process, or if it's an investment property, whatever it might be. A lot of times it's going to be dictated by your unique financial footprint. But really when it comes down to it, the two terms that most people know and recognize are conventional versus FHA. Of course, there's USDA, there's VA, and we can talk all day about that. Maybe we'll talk about that at another time.
Let's do it.
A lot of fun loans with those. But conventional versus FHA, both are great loan programs. Don't ever be convinced that FHA isn't a great loan. It really just depends upon the property itself. And you've seen that definitely for sure. But if you're making an offer on a newer home, if we can get you into a conventional loan, if the credit is above at least 680, we'd love for you to be above 700. If you've got the money to put down at least 3% for a first-time home buyer or 5% if you're not a first-time home buyer, that's going to make your offer pretty strong. And then, of course, one of the best ways to strengthen your offer is putting down more money. So even though 20% is not the bare minimum, if you can get there, great.
That's a really great point. So when you have a larger down payment, we're actually able to talk to our seller and let them know that you have the financial means to be able to take care of some of the things down the line, whether that's appraisal issues or it's things to do with repairs. That shows us that you have a strong financial background. But don't worry, if you're FHA or if you're VA or USDA and you don't have that down payment, don't panic. It's not a panic thing. I actually have seen FHA loans get chosen over conventional. So it's not always the case in point, but conventional does have that little bit higher edge. I'm going to piggyback on that too. If you do have the cash, paying for your own closing costs is a big deal. Anything that helps the seller keep more money in their pocket works out really well for your offer. The less they have to pay out of pocket for you to get the home, the better. It's just kind of the name of the game. Sellers are looking for the most money they can get in their pocket.
Yeah.
So, but keeping in mind, we're talking about appraisals a little bit earlier too today. Homes right now aren't appraising for $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 over asking. Those days are not around. I think banks, you guys are kind of tightening up a little bit, being like, this is out of control.
Yeah, banks are kind of pulling back the reins a little bit when it comes to appraisals, because keep in mind, we cannot lend from a mortgage perspective. We can't lend based on what the home is purchased for. We lend based on what the appraisal tells us the home is worth. So we have to be limited to that. So if there's a difference between the purchase price and then what it appraises for, it's really kind of up to a few different options. You can either walk away, which we don't want.
No, we don't want.
You can meet in the middle with the seller, which comes down to having a great realtor. Or you could cover that difference and bring in a bigger down payment, which isn't always the easiest thing to do, but it's definitely something that helps your offer in a really competitive market. So those are the options if that appraisal comes in a little bit lower, which like you said,
it happens.
It's starting to happen.
It's
starting to happen a lot more common. Those are your options to make sure that you can still keep yourself in the area to win that home.
Yeah, and make sure that your realtor is actually giving you a comparative market analysis or some sort of idea and statistics as to what's going in the market. So I know that a couple months ago when I last looked at numbers, probably within the last 6 weeks, we were looking at a 3 to 5% over asking in the Clark County area. Wow. And it's about 3 to 5% over in the Portland area as well, over asking. Now, caveat to that is that we're looking at overall market. If you're looking at certain price points, you're looking at certain areas, that number may vary. But overall, we're looking at a 3 to 5% over asking is what we're seeing things appraised for and things go for. So you don't want to make that highest offer. Again, highest isn't necessarily best. We want to make sure that we're going to stay within that appraisal. And really, I mean, that's probably the biggest thing is there's nothing worse than putting an offer out there for, $500 billion and only appraises for $1, that's a big, and we're seeing that where homes are no longer going for that higher. So
yeah, no question.
I think it's kind of understanding the appraisal process helps your offer stand out.
Yeah.
So
one thing I might add too, when it comes from a lender's perspective, I want to qualify folks based on what they can truly afford. And so sometimes you get emotionally attached to the home, which I totally understand. But you really want, at the end of the day, you don't want to be mortgage poor. You want to get into a home that you can truly afford. Those payments are made on time. You don't have to worry about it. And when you really start getting bid up, especially if you have the money to do that, it's a fine line.
It
and
is.
So listening to people around you, listening to your realtor, listening to your lender, I'm sure there's always going to be family members that have their 2 cents worth.
Yeah.
But also too, just making sure that you qualify and are looking towards purchasing something that you can truly afford is key.
Well, let's talk about qualifying too. So one of the biggest things we talk about in real estate, and it's super important right now, is that pre-approval. Like making sure that you've talked to this guy before we go out and even look at houses. Because there's nothing worse than going out and looking at a house and falling in love and not qualifying for it, or not getting your pre-qualification in time to even put in an offer.
Yep.
Offers today, like what is it? I think Brian Buffini just said it was 28% of offers are being made without a pre-approval, and that's just, it's not going to work anymore. We don't want to wait for you to get pre-approved when there's 72% that do have a pre-approval. Yep. So, and the pre-approval process is fairly easy.
It's pretty straightforward. A pre-approval process really comes with a few different things: a full application, a hard credit pull, and then documentation of income. So you want to have income and assets. Basically, we want to see, do you have the money coming in each month to support a consistent payment? And do you have enough money to support whatever your down payment might be? And then that's kind of going back to what we talked about. It helps me determine, hey, what loan program is best for you? Are you a veteran? Can you go VA? Do you have to go USDA? Can you go Washington bond or Oregon bond, 0% down payment assistance, conventional loan, FHA? So that's really how we make our determination.
Huge.
And it's not, I promise guys, it's not nearly as hard as it sounds. It's not as complicated as it sounds.
I always tell people lenders do lender magic, and it's amazing. You just give them the stuff, and then they tell us what you're pre-approved for, and then we go look at houses, and it's awesome.
Absolutely. Get the hard stuff out of the way,
Yeah.
and then you can shop with confidence.
Yeah. Here's the thing. We're going to talk a little bit, I think, about letters. So we were talking about this.
Yeah.
People have been writing a lot of letters, and I'm going to actually caution you not to. And the reason is the Fair Housing Act. So Fair Housing states that there's a whole bunch of things that you cannot base your decision on for buying a home. And when you write a letter that talks about how, your family is and all that kind of stuff, you're actually getting into that Fair Housing Act. Also, if you say in that letter that you absolutely love the home, you may be losing your power to negotiate for repairs, which is a big, big deal.
Yeah.
So I would say in making your letter, like this whole thing stand out, not writing a letter. Like let's do everything we can in the contract to make you stand out. So, and then there's repairs. So inspections are huge. You guys do appraisals, which I'm going to just say really quick, if you don't know the difference between appraisal and inspection, I have a video for that. We'll talk about that more. They are two different things, but in the inspection and repair phase, you as a buyer will be paying for a licensed home inspector to go in and look at the house, find all the things that are wrong, and talk about fixing them. If you're going to do that, and I highly suggest that you do, I would say maybe even putting in there somewhere in your offer that you're not going to ask for like the tiny repairs. You're going to ask for only big stuff. Or, maybe having your realtor and that, listing agent have that conversation about repairs and what is that going to look like. Inspections are a big thing, and I'm seeing a lot of waived inspections, which always gives me some pause. We want to have that inspection, but waived inspections are becoming a thing, or getting the person to say, I'm doing an inspection just to get my honey-do list, but I don't plan on asking for repairs. So sitting down with your agent and talking to them about that inspection and how important that is to you is a big, big piece.
No question. I mean, really, at the end of the day, we're all a team. We want to help you win the home, and so everything that Sarah just said is completely true, and the lender is going to stay in the lender's lane, the realtor is going to stay in their lane, and we're all working together to help you win a home. That kind of stuff is invaluable in this kind of market, because at the end of the day, you want to be the one that's in the home, and we want to help you win it. So that's one of the biggest things that we could recommend.
It's true. We do get really, really excited to be able to hand you keys and tell you that it's funded and recorded and everything is great. It's
Communication is really key. And when you're waiving stuff like a home inspection or talking about appraisals and covering the distances, that's when you want to make sure that whatever lender and whatever realtor you're working with are communicating with each other, because if something's dropped, a ball's dropped, maybe an appraisal takes a little bit longer, then you're talking about maybe closing late, and then everyone's stressed, which is, it's already stressful enough.
Closing late, or even possibly having a sale fail, and that's like everybody's worst nightmare. So it's good to have a relationship with a realtor, and then having them talk to a lender that they know and trust, and having a conversation with a lender who talks about a realtor that they know and trust, because we know how each other work, and we can actually sell ourselves to that listing agent as well. Because the reality is that, you know, we talk about in listing a home, you're actually selling the house to the listing agent and the buyer and then the appraiser. And I think when we talk about offers, we need to talk about the fact that we're also selling this offer to both a listing agent and a seller. So knowing that you're with a Rockstar team, knowing that you have great communication and they have great communication and that they're able to talk to the other realtor is really, really huge too. And I think knowing who you're working with is a big deal.
Absolutely.
So, all right. Well, you guys, this has been so much fun. Thank you so much, Abe, for allowing me to come into your office and film this video. This is so much fun.
This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
This is great.
I'm sure you'll see us together in videos more often, and maybe not so 6 feet apart-ish in this COVID world.
Let us know any questions that you have, because at the end of the day, we want to make sure we're having a pulse on really what's helping people win homes, questions they have that come up from the lender side, from the realtor side. Like, we want to have real world practical advice for you guys. So let us know if stuff pops up.
Yeah. And at some point, we're going to be hosting a home buying class. And this isn't just for people who are buying homes for the first time. The market has shifted so much that it really has changed the game of how to buy a home. So we're planning on doing that as COVID allows. If you're interested, please let us know. It would be great to have you.
Looking forward to it. Any questions, anything with that first time home buyers class?
That'd be great. That'd be great. All right, guys. Once again, I'm Sarah Carmen, your Not So Secret agent, and I thank you so much. We'll be back next week.